Our next speaker is Dirk Kolassa. Did I get that all close? He's the head of eMedia Europe, Middle East, Africa for Alcatel Lucent. He joined Alcatel Lucent in 1999 and is responsible for their e-marketing activities across Europe, Middle East, and Africa as part of the corporate marketing team. And his team has helped build a company-wide social collaboration platform. And among other activities, they've integrated regional online campaigns. They've run some customer newsletters, live webcasts, and virtual events. He's part of the Matrix social media team focused on the building of ALU's social media strategy and its execution. And Camilla Schwartz is also part of the digital channels group, and she joins him as well. So please welcome them. Thank you.
So, good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Can you hear me? Okay, before we would like to share some experience we had with our social collaboration platform in the last 2 years, we would like to do a quick warm-up. And for that warm-up, I need 4 volunteers. And I think I will take a top-down approach and nominate you. So please take this laser pointer. We will show you some pictures and ask questions, and you will share your personal opinion about the answer by pointing. Let's agree we take this slide. How you would answer the questions. So let me see. Okay, on this slide we see on the left-hand side 8 people rowing, 1 giving directions, synchronizing them. And on the right-hand side we see some ants who want to bridge a gap. The gap actually is bigger than each of the ants. And both are quite very effective systems, I would say. Now, question to you. You have to run a, let's say, project with a quite tight deadline. Which kind of collaboration would you choose? Okay, I'm surprised. So you have a project, a quite tight deadline. Let's say next Friday, I need to have a result. We are talking about a self-organized system, and okay, you made your choice. It's good. Which company are you from?
Okay, on this slide you can see Facebook mapping and Napoleon. Now, in which system people will act more openly? Which system encourages more openness?
Do you a favor.
Okay.
Okay, here we see Plato and his student Aristoteles, and they had a small community, the School of Athens, and they shared their knowledge with this group. And on the other hand side, we have user-generated content in Wikipedia. And my question to you is, which knowledge source is more reliable? At least a bit of disagreement, I'm happy about that. Okay.
Here you can see the picture of a jungle and French garden, organized, ordered, dominated by a gardener. Which system creates more ideas? In which environment more ideas will grow?
Okay, common agreement. And the last slide, here we see 2 different ways to organize traffic. Externally triggered on the left-hand side, and again self-organized with a roundabout on the right-hand side. Question, which system allows a faster flow? Okay, many thanks. So thank you for that. You can keep the laser pointer for yourself now. That was actually your part. Now our part starts. Okay, why did we show these pictures? 2 years ago, as I said, we implemented a social collaboration platform. And we would like to share some experience with you. We will touch some of the topics here, like control of collaboration or the speed of information you receive. And while I think most of the attendees here have already a social collaboration platform, so it would be maybe interesting to compare your experience with ours. I say directly we are using Jive. And in the presentation here, we would like to show you a bit how it looks like. Probably others take other collaboration platforms, so we see maybe a difference. We would show you also in detail some statistics that we now polled after 2 years, and also what the people like and dislike about the platform after 2 years. And eventually, we will answer the question, is a social collaboration platform the right thing for a company like Alcatel Lucent? Who is Alcatel Lucent? For those who are not familiar with us, I will go here. We provide telecommunication infrastructure to major service providers like Deutsche Telekom, Vodafone, BT, and so on. We are a global company with 70,000 employees in 130 countries. That's what we need to keep in mind when we talk about why do we need a platform. Our research and development department, well known, is the Bell Labs. They generated 33,000 patents over time with 7 Nobel Prize winners, and this year we were nominated among the 50 most innovative companies in the world by the MIT. Okay, where did we come from? So, like most of the companies, we start with blogs, small wikis, SharePoints, and so on. And then we also introduced, like Rick, a free version of Yammer for microblogging. In the intranet, then we started with the possibility to comment on articles. From today's view, this is not thrilling, but at that time it was a small revolution at least, that we heard about internal communications, that you can comment on these communications. And we also launched an internal video platform, something like YouTube, where every employee can upload videos and share this with others. But all in all, this was not sufficient anymore at a certain time where we said, okay, at that time, 2 years ago, as I said, for me as an employee, it was still difficult to find quickly an information that I need for my work. And it was also difficult to communicate across hierarchies. So sometimes I even had to ask my boss if I'm allowed to contact a certain person in the company. And other statements we can see here on this slide from other colleagues. We don't know what we know, can't quickly find relevant information, can't easily share my experience beyond my team, can't stay up to date with what's going on in the rest of the company, can't discover and build relationships with colleagues across the company. And I guess everyone here in the room maybe had the same experience in his company, her company. So at that time, we had, in a way, luck, since we got a new CEO. And with the CEO, a whole change management process started. And as part of this change management process, it was a decision to implement a social collaboration platform. So clearly a top-down decision, no bottom-up at that point. However, we said, okay, this won't work if we don't involve the employees. So we directly started in parallel a bottom-up approach. And we made a survey among the colleagues. What do you expect from such a platform? What do you need? What is your expectation? And we found 7 main, let's say, blocks. What was important? I won't go through all of them, but mainly they want to see what the other one is, the skills of the other one, so kind of a profile. Also show themselves what they are, let's say, best at. They want to have one single workplace, not go into 5 different tools. They want to find and publish something easily, keep informed, and so on. So, of course, it is not about a tool, it is about the people. We know all that, but in the end, you have to choose a tool. And we made a survey. At that time, I think there were about 70 different solutions, bigger and smaller ones. And out of these 70, we made a short list of 8 and evaluated all 8 solutions according to the requirements that we did before. We also added some other requirements like cost and time to implement the solution, internally, externally hosted, and so on. And the outcome, just in a brief, was this ranking. On number 3, there was SharePoint 2010. I think it was beta at this time still. The one in the middle was a platform that our colleagues from the Bell Labs, from the Research and Development Department, already used on their own, and the idea was maybe to extend it to the whole company. But in the end, we used Jive. And I think, let's say, the main reason was in the end that it is quite easy to use, and that is maybe for a non-digital native interesting aspect. Clearly statement, I'm not selling anything for Jive or so, that's clear. So for every company, the result might be different. It is only depending that this was our requirements, and according to that requirement, this was our result. Yeah, so for others might make sense to use SharePoint or anything else. Okay. Then, of course, the technical preparation and so on started, and we also started then with early adapters. That was quite important. We will see it also later on in the presentation, because we thought the best is that when we launch the platform, that there is already information and that the other employees can directly see a benefit from it. So 2 months before we launched it, we started that process. And on June 2010, we launched the platform. We use now the word engage. That's what you see there, a bit of some renaming and so on. So when you hear now several times the word engage from my colleague Camilla, you know this is actually this Jive. And now we will take a closer look how the platform itself looks like.
Okay, so here you can see how Engage looked like at 2010 and June. You can see that quite a space is dedicated to learning how to manage the platform, and a lot of effort was done to prepare it like that. Of course, with time, after some months, the platform evolves, self-organizing depending on time and needs of its users, and you can see that there is still a bit of space dedicated to learning, but you can follow current activities, what is going on. However, let's take concrete example. For me, Engage, since I'm leading EMEA customer newsletter project, is mainly the source to find the expert. If I want an article on a concrete topic, I just want the expert. And within 70,000 people, it's quite a challenge to find the right person. So, first, we log in. And then, in the browser, I'm looking for Light Radio. Light Radio is one of our solutions, and I want to have the article on the topic. Already, at the moment when you write Light Radio in the browser, you can see that we have Light Radio content, Light Radio people, Light Radio places groups. So since I'm interested in people, as the effect of browsing, on the left side, you can see content, discussions, information on trainings about the Light Radio at the moment. On the right side, you can see people, and below groups. Since I'm interested in people, I take the first person from the list. It is Deborah DeKey, and she's program leader, Light Radio transport. Okay, within few seconds, I have the first contact, maybe not the last one, but that's how it starts. Another source of information for the person, to find a person, are blogs. Here you can see in the menu that you can filter. Green mark is blog, and I can filter blogs, Light Radio blogs, and below every post there is the author. So also this is the source of information for me, writing the article. Now let's take a look how the experts who are necessary for me get gathered on Engage. In general, there are two groups, communities of practice and community of interest. I want to emphasize that groups on Engage, it is totally self-organizing creature. It is not, there are no approvals, no contact with your manager. You have a need, you create group, you are the owner, you are responsible for it and for the content which is there. There are two examples, wireless group and small cells group. Wireless, at that time, it was the biggest one, and it still is. And communities of practice, these are people who usually share the profession, in short. Then you have communities of interest. Here you have two examples, photography group and learning languages groups. And here there are people who share passion. Sometimes there are lucky ones who share passion and profession, and we have social media ninjas, which is the example of the mixture. Let's take a look what else is possible there. So we have blogs. On the top you can see Ben Verwaayen, this is our CEO, and he's having his own blog. He's writing it on his own. He sometimes faces harsh moments. And blogs are these pieces of content which allows you to be quite visible on the platform. What else is possible? You can create polls, you can get engaged into discussions, and you can upload some documents. Here you have example of customer newsletter EMEA group. They are gathered, I'm owning the group, and they are gathered all the people I'm working on the regular basis. And whatever action I do there, or any of the members, because it is also possible, people via email receive information and they decide if they are interested in the content or not, but they are aware what is going on the regular basis. Okay, at that moment, some people may have questioned, but everything looks great, but how you want to convince people to be active, to be visible or engaged, to do activities. And of course, we won't convince everybody, that is obvious. And this is like, on Engage, you have the certain kind of working model. The more activities you are doing, the more blogs you write, the more in more discussions you are engaged, you are more visible, and with time you are become informal influencer. So for some people, that kind of motivation that you are more visible, you are influencer, might be the reason to try. And you can see there certain names: insight, lieutenant, lieutenant commander, advocate. By doing different activities, you are getting points automatically. And with time, from insight, you become advocate. You can see at the time in the profile, you had the information, and it is still there, status level. So you are aware what is going on. But let's take a look now how this model is proved by reality.
Yeah, I promised you some statistics. So here we can see firstly the number of documents, quite simple, and the blue line from the beginning till June 2012. And the second line is the number of discussion. So one thing I want to point out is here, as I said, this was the starting point. It starts not as on scratch. We had already some stuff going on there. So this is simply the number of, I would say, then, content, document discussions, as I said. Here is the number of users, where you also see, from that point of view, definitely success. If you remember, we have about 77,000 employees, and we reached almost that number. It means everyone is somehow involved already, which is quite also successful. Of course, not in the same level of engagement. So we can see some are very heavily contributing, the blue line here below, and some are participating, means from time to time, and so on. The same thing I would like to show in a different way. I have a colleague, and his hobby is big data visualization. And so he took just the number, let's say the data in our network in Engage, and said, I will visualize that. And each of these bubbles is an employee that we see here. And the connections here, we will see later a bit better, between them is a discussion going on. This is a snapshot in a certain time. The bigger the bubble, the more active is this person. If we filter out the ones with the lower activity, it looks like that. So these are actually then the heavy users. We could track the name, but we don't do this, of course. It is more just for the information, because it shows really that there is an interaction between the people. And we also see, oh yeah, these are, not everyone is acting in the same way. We also found different profiles, by the way. Some people are only responding all the time. Others are only asking questions all the time, so different kind of humans. Whatever this pattern, we know already, of course, from the pyramid here. Let's not discuss if it is 99.1, it's all the time changing, and we also know that the early adopters in the meanwhile go out from the social media space. But these are our real numbers. We saw the one from Rick before, so these are ours. 40% heavy contributors, 31 from time to time, and the 55 are lurkers. So in a employee community is definitely more balanced than in an external community, no matter what the exact number there is at the moment. Same thing shown a bit in a different way. We see here that almost 80% of content is uploaded by 20% of the employees. It's the same story, but this is not necessarily bad, because on the other hand side, 80% of the employees can benefit from them. So they find, in the end, the information, even if they are not a heavy contributor. And that is the task in the end, or the goal. Here is again such a visualization we saw before, but this is, in my opinion, a bit more interesting, because it shows how the different departments work together. When we are talking about social collaboration platforms, we always say we want to break silos. Did anyone actually prove this so far, or in which way? I think this is a nice way, how we at least can show this to our management, that we broke the silos. Because we mapped the individuals before to the department, and therefore we could see which departments are talking to each other. And this is at least some facts that we have, and not just speculation. Now we would like, these were only raw data, but now we would like to come to the point where we say, okay, what do the people like and dislike, so more qualitative evaluation of it.
Here you can see real quotes after some months of using Engage when we started, how they see the platform, what are positives, in which way environment got proved. So definitely what was clear and visible, that was saving the time. You have examples, got better answer to question in 30 minutes versus hours. It is the same what I presented you about finding the expert. It is more or less the same. We save 450 minutes per week in project status conference calls. People feel more connected. They contribute to new and different parts of the business. And sometimes nice, unpredictable things are happening. And there was photography community of interest. And they get to the idea, cost-saving idea, to use employees' images for marketing materials instead of paying a lot of money to professional stock photos. Here you can see 2011 in the middle. I did the survey among the people with different engagement level. At the top, and here you can see this ranking, yeah? Advocate, lieutenant, ensign. And what is again emphasized is time, but also possibility to publish any content without any filtering, finding, discovering new interesting information by chance. Okay, there was quite a hardcore guy who writes that it resolves 80% of his need, but he's advocate, then, of course, possibility of sharing content, finding experts for the topic. And here, the last ones, you can see that one person is mentioning that you need to configure your setup properly because otherwise you can be overwhelmed with emails. And the next person who is not so much involved in the Engage says, I don't like the flood of information coming to my inbox. What it means? It means that in order to have value out of it, you really need to know how to manage the platform, not to be over-flooded with emails. And now, 2 months ago, around 2 months ago, we introduced a new version of Engage, and this setup issue, which was for some people quite an issue, handled this problem, and it is now that it is not that you need to click and check every piece of content which is coming to your mailbox. Now it is the content is coming to you. On the left side, you log in into Engage to one place, and on the left side, you can see stream of content in which you are involved. Discussions, blogs, questions, everything on the it is on the left side. So in one place, you don't need to check every email. You don't need to have these emails at all. It is up to you what is more comfortable for your work. So at the beginning of our story today, we ask you some questions. The answer is there's no right or wrong answers here. Everything depends on the goals you have. It may be top-down or self-organizing system. If you want to send important information to all employees, you will use top-down approach. But if you are looking for innovative ideas, I would say self-organizing creature is your choice. In Alcatel Lucent, we have both. We have top-down intranet and Engage, which is incorporated in the intranet, and you can follow what is the top content, what is most commented stuff, and you can, of course, go there from the intranet. However, to make the story successful, there are key things that need to be done, like must-haves, to make the story successful. So first of all, integration and overall change management process, which Dirk mentioned. From point 0 and earlier, you need to have strong executive support at the beginning and through the whole time. Without it, you can forget it. Before launching it, you need to have right mix of people in the phase of preparation from different organizations, from IT, HR, communication, working council, depends what is going on in your organizations and companies, because then the process goes smoothly. Everybody is informed, involved, and it is, I would say, we save time in this way. You need to start with early adapters and involve employees in the process. And also from point 0, you need to have community manager, which is all the time now doing his job quite well. And I would say these are the key points from our experience, more than 2 years already. So that is all for today. We hope that you'll find some pieces of the story interesting to you, and thank you very much.
Do we have questions?
Thank you. Stefan Akna from AXA Group. Can we go back to numbers that you mentioned? Is it correct that right now the number of people who are in Engage are 6,500?
70,000, yeah.
Out of 77,000?
No, we are all in all 77,000 people, and 70,000, or almost all, let's say like this, are participating, but not on the same level, as I said. Yeah, so still we see most are consuming content, and smaller part than contributing.
All right. So the question, looking at the different engagement map, is what is the next target in terms of maybe business objectives, either coming from your top management? I mean, what do they expect from a business standpoint, thanks to Engage?
I think the interesting thing here was, and this is untypical for us, we did not have an ROI at the beginning, and still not. So it was not that we said, then we want to have following numbers and so on. In my opinion, this would be also a bit narrow-minded, because the interaction is the value. It is not the number of posts in the end or whatever it is. I think the interaction, that's why I showed this picture for my colleague who did this big data analysis, where you really can see there is the interaction. So you can say, okay, it's going on. Now you can make a German and measure again how many interactions do I want to have, but I think it doesn't make sense. It proves in a way by itself then that it works. So clear answer from my side, at the beginning, no ROI, and I think that was maybe also one key to success. To be honest, maybe that should be on the last slide. And we still don't have one.
Hello, my name is Georg Schnaufer from ThyssenKrupp, and I would like to know a little bit more about the integration in the intranet. Because you mentioned that Engage is part of the starting page from the internet. And is that just a portlet where you can drop off to Engage, or is there another deeper integration? For example, a federated search that searches both sources, and what about redundancies regarding the content, or what about personal profiles, which might be probably in Engage and also in the intranet? How do you separate that or integrate that?
There was also a tweet about that. Why to have two different platforms isn't nonsense. Yes, it is nonsense, but I think it is, first of all, a bit historically. It's a technical issue. There are different problems. If I could start greenfield, definitely you would only have one. At the moment, we indeed have two platforms. We have the top-down intranet. So if, I don't know, there's a big announcement, this goes out on the intranet page to all employees. This is also a way to make sure that everyone has the possibility to read it. If you only put it in Engage in a certain group, you don't know if is the person following there or not. So we have, on the one hand side, the Engage platform, and you also saw you have to log in. So separately, usually when you simply just go in the intranet, okay, you see all the stuff there, but when you enter Engage, also for these legal issues, you have to log in and agree that you are entering that, because then you get, here in Germany, and working council is a big issue usually here, you have to acknowledge certain things, that that it is voluntary what you're doing, and so on and so on. And also that, for example, we saw this ranking system, that this ranking system can't be used against you, for example, for performance review. But coming back to the actual question then was, so there are clearly at the moment two, and I would even say there are three systems, because there's still Outlook. And this is also an issue that, and I don't think that that we can solve it in the short term. So you still have Outlook, because you're also communicating with the outside world, of course, not only internally. That is a mixture which is not 100% satisfying at the moment, and I don't see at the moment a solution for this.
But Just yesterday I was checking something, and a good example for the question, because there was a blog post regarding Bellab's guys were doing kind of presentation and they were sharing what was going there via blog, which is on the intranet. At the same time, on Engage, I was checking something. They provided the presentation, but they give more content there. Yeah, so people deal in different ways. You have here, let's call it more formal, and on Engage, more developed. Yeah, so
that's what indeed is taking more and more place. That in the intranet is only a teaser, and the full content with discussion and so on, because on the internet you can't have this in the classical one, at least. You can't have the functionality, so it is teasing then there. We did our whole kickoff, sales kickoff in Engage last year, for example, not anymore physically somewhere. So at the moment, let's say the intranet is only a shell for us with some content, but mostly leading them to Engage.
You mentioned that you distinguish between communities of practice and communities of interest. Have you found different trends emerging there? Have you found more business value or user acknowledgement of the value of one of those over the other?
So I think the only thing we measured is that we have more than 4,000 groups, and I would ask my colleague with the big data visualization what's going on. I don't have statistics about that. Sorry. Or do you have? No. No.
Hi, thank you. My name is Thierry Muller, DSM. My question is, do you do something special to reward top influencers? Do they get something? How do you do that?
No, is the clear answer. It is, I think this is self-praising what they're doing, and this is, in my opinion, the main driver of those platforms, also of external platforms, that people want to show off, I'm the expert. And if you think this to the end, I think the interesting aspect of this discussion is that at a certain point I will challenge my boss why he's the boss and not me, because I show I'm, for example, advocate and you are in sign. So for what reason, let's say, I think this will revolution, there will be a kind of revolution for HR in that point, that you really see now the real talents in the company and not those who historically got to that job.
Well.
I hope this was not recorded, no?
Hi, I have a question on your platforms. You mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, you said that Engage is on Jive and your intranet is on SharePoint. Is that correct? What are your platforms that you're using?
No, the platform for the company is Jive. The platform itself is Jive, or what could you repeat that?
Sorry, I saw SharePoint on one of your slides.
Ah, okay, no, this was, I was showing the result of an evaluation we did when we were discussing which platform should we take. And I think you meant that, SharePoint.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, and the question was, okay, do we go for 2010, SharePoint 2010, or something else? And no, then we went for Jive for the reasons. We still have some SharePoints there and there for, this is also an issue for security reasons, and we are not really allowed to post absolutely confidential information in Jive. So sometimes indeed we use some SharePoints with login, special passwords and so on still. It's a bit an issue because at the moment with platform with version 5, you also have an app on your iPhone and iPad where you can directly go into Engage. And okay, while I'm speaking here, my colleague, I will trust you, but it could be that he simply logs in and gets a lot of information. And it's indeed a security issue, and therefore we don't post everything there.
My name is Marcus Martin from Tieto, Finnish company. I forgot how you measured the advocate, etc. Is it only the amount of input that the person gives, or is it more? So people who spam, to be honestly, are they highly rated in the same way like people who don't?
To be honest, I'm not even aware how each activity is pointed out, because you may think, okay, I will do trick, I will just take out this which is highly ranked, yeah? So you would write more blogs because this is more highly ranked. I would say this is extreme direction. It is more that out of your needs, you automatically get points. If it is blog post, this is just a short, 2 points. If this is, I don't know, engaging in discussion, 1 point, something like that. And with time, it is growing, yeah?
Answering question also.
Yes, answering questions.
So
this is secret, this is kind of...
with Coca-Cola, you don't know the exact algorithm behind.
Yeah.
And of course, the smart people directly asked that because they wanted to get a lot of points and wanted to know, okay, how is it calculated? And maybe then you only answer questions all the time to get a high ranking. But it is not visible, so it is. We don't share how this is done.
So there's no ratings done from other users, like they likes or like Google does. How many clicks does the blog have to really get a feeling of the value of the contribution?
No, but if you post a question and you have to mark it as a question, so then it's a question. And if someone answered the question, you can then rate, okay, the question is answered. And then this person get, for example, 3 points. I found out if you upload a document, you get 1 point. That's what I found out, at least.
Good to know.
So it's, of course, yeah, it's not totally visible.
I would say it is more on the profile of people. It is like you were asking about motivation, yeah? It is the profile of the person. Either this is motivation for you to get visibility and be this informal influencer or not. Maybe this is the driving force.
And this is also a way to, when we are talking about reliability of information, by that you can see who is posting something, if you can trust him or not. If you see, well, he's the expert in that area. So coming back to the Aristoteles problem, then he said, this is my Aristoteles here, I will trust him.
Hello, my name is Marco Wilde from Casidian. Do you have an expert hierarchy in your company? So a career path, like senior experts, or executive experts?
Could you the question a bit? I don't know exactly.
Do you have in your company, do you have an expert path, a career path?
Yes, but I don't understand the connection now to this.
How does it conflict with your experts? Or does it conflict?
I don't think I get the question at all.
In our company, we select the experts from 10 years expertise upwards as a senior expert in aerodynamics, for example, and he has a certain status, just like a line function, and these are nominated and qualified experts through HR. So, if you identify experts in your environment, how do they conflict with the experts that are already existing?
So first of all, I don't think that we have, I'm not sure if we have this qualified expert process or certificate or whatever you call it. I'm not 100% sure about that. So it's difficult to answer for me. I just can say that in Engage, this is naturally evolving. You see in the end, even if you call yourself the expert in, let's call light radio, and then afterwards you can't answer any question, then obviously you made a trick. But I don't know exactly if you have this certificated, then you are the senior expert of this and that.
But very often, if, for example, this wireless group, this is very much, let's say, also product related, etc. But it is that people direct you. If someone has the concern of any kind, and it is not in this group, but have the concern regarding something in the wireless topic, they direct you to the expert. Yeah. So sometimes, if someone from the, let's say, light radio knows something, but he is not the key person, then he knows and give you the okay, contact this person, yeah, or try with this. So. It is, as Dirk, you said, it is more self-organizing on Engage. Yeah? It is. I don't remember any issue of that kind.
Actually,
this concern.
I also never saw a conflict that a real expert said, "Hey, the expert in Engage is wrong or so, I don't know.
We have a question over there.
Maybe I can add my question directly to this question, because I think that's a very interesting question. Maybe Engage is able to find out about hidden experts.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's the interesting point, which might create conflicts with an officially created, by the HR department created expert, and I think that is really, or there might be an issue if there is a career path which is based on expertise.
Yeah, an issue for whom? For I mean, for whom? For the company, it's good, and maybe for the one who...
It's just a field of action, and you need to design it, probably. But the question I had in this direction also going was, what about the key success factor community manager? You mentioned that there's a community manager, which is a crucial success factor. What is he doing?
This is the person who is from the very beginning working on the technical part, the whole process behind, how it should work, contacting Jive, giving, I would say she is the one of the advocate, any concerns about, she's doing training, she's, I would say the person is known for sure in the whole company.
Yeah, this is a project manager in the end who drives the project. It's not that she's now monitoring discussions or whatever, or removing content and so on. That not the community manager. It's just taking care, like a concierge in a hotel in a way, taking care of everything related to this project and driving it. That's what the community manager is doing.
The implementation project, or is that, for example, the community of photography? You mentioned a community of photographers, community of interest.
No, this is like being responsible for the whole Engage, what is going on there, from the implementation, gathering people.
The word was a bit misleading, community. In this moment, we saw whole Engage as a community.
Oh, okay.
So not each and every part.
Yeah, like
because then you would need to have 4,000 community managers.
No, sorry.
Okay, we're going to take one more question over there.
Sonja Waldheuer from Hochtief. I think we are quite in a similar situation. We are also using Jive and have this combination with a top-down intranet. But my question is, on one slide you showed a box with management blocks. And I would like to know, what are the reactions of your employees on this kind of top-down communication in this aspect? Or are there any comments, or don't they do that first? And sorry, something else to this. Is there any monitoring of a community manager or anybody of communications to this management discussions, in order to help them if it's becoming difficult to do their risk communication, or are they doing it completely on their own, and how is this handled?
So may I ask, or do you want to lose your job? Okay. So in the meanwhile, the people are quite open and frank in responding. Well, you can also see a bit. So first of all, you have these people who always applaud. So the direct reports of the CEO, of course, everything he's saying is good. At the beginning, also let's say the normal employees either stayed silent or applauded. This changed dramatically, specifically with quarterly results, you can see it, and related layoffs, for example. So when it gets harsh, people are really getting harsh in replying. I remember there was the decision to lay off a factory in Italy, 300 people were affected, and they all replied to this management block. A lot of them, for the first time that they were at least in Engage at all. Yeah? So, and they directly wrote back, and there was a lot. At the beginning, you could see there was someone trying to, from HR then, to, let's say, help the CEO, but then he got, let's say, the issue. So it was a learning process, but both sides learned with it. So also the CEO learned, okay, this is my true feedback I get here. And that's what he wrote in one of the next statements. I said, I looked at everything in Engage, and I see where the real issues are. Because you know, as in each company, the one who's bringing a bad message, So from both sides, I would say this is now on a quite good level. The people are open and frank. They don't, let's say, offend someone, that's clear. And that is, by the way, regulated by yourself. You can remove a content or you report abuse, and then someone takes a look at it and make a decision, okay, this content needs to be removed or not, if it is against the code of conduct. So we have the same, the code of conduct. But on the other hand side, I'm really surprised. At the beginning, I was also skeptical. I said, okay, because you show your name, it is not anonymous. Yeah, you show your name and say, okay, who will risk his job and say something against the CEO? But this changed, indeed. That is our experience. And I said, if the business is going well, you don't have any issues. The problem is if the business is not going well, then the issues are coming.
All right, you guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.